All right. Oh, where did I put my phone?
Hello, everyone. I am Hasanatsu. I am the legal assistant. If you guys have any questions, you can always call our phone at 301-614-0811. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Hasanatu. Don't worry, I'm boosted. All right. Hello, everybody. I am Will Agyekum. I am with Ivylaw Law Office. This is our first Q&A live on YouTube. I am with my co-counsel here, and Jumoke Oladapo. Please
You're
introduce yourself and tell
welcome.
us what you do here.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the live Q&A session at the Butte session. We work with Ivylaw Law Office. We're in Greenbelt, Maryland. We're immigration attorneys as well as estate planning attorneys. And our goal as immigration lawyers is to be able to help families and individuals live and work in the United States with legal status so that they can achieve their American dream. We did not leave out our estate planning clients, so you'll know more about it today, but we want you to keep your loved ones out of court and conflict in the event of incapacity or death through proper estate planning. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Stick in to the end, and you'll be glad you did.
All right. Okay, so we will pay attention to the chat app. So if anybody wants to send questions that way, we definitely will pay attention to that. Otherwise, we have some questions that was submitted to us previously, so we will use that to answer some questions that some of y'all might be having as well. So I will start with the first one, and then Jim O'Kay will give a estate planning question and answer. We will both answer the immigration questions, but just note that I will not be answering or involved in any of the estate planning because that's for Maryland, and I'm not yet barred in Maryland, so I cannot talk about that at this point. But when I do get barred, I will join Jumoke and we'll talk about
Definitely.
it. All right. So one of the questions for immigration is that somebody wants to know how long do I have to get married? How long do I have before I have to get married for a fiance visa? What did you say to that?
Oh, congratulations if you're here on a fiance visa and you're here joining your fiancé or fiance.
Mm-hmm.
So the law requires that you have to get married within 90 days of coming into the United States. And it's a statutory requirement, so it needs to be done.
That's right. So you don't have any wiggle room. It's 90 days. We have a client dealing with that problem right now, and it's tough once you miss that deadline. So don't miss it. All right. You want to give us an estate one?
All right. So a lot of people say, what is a estate plan?
Mhm.
Some people even think it's real estate. Yeah, but estate plan, it's, and you know what? Everybody, first of all, you have an estate, whether you know it or not. Okay. So if you have a bank account, if you have a home, if you have a life insurance, annuity, one money or the other, something that you can give to someone, you have an estate. All
Mhm.
right. So what is an estate plan? An estate plan is planning, making plans towards who you want to give something to, number one, and number two, who will be the one administering those tasks on your behalf in the event of your incapacity or death. As long as you're alive and living and well, maybe you can do some things by yourself. But it may be too late if you get into an accident and you're incapacitated or you're in a coma. By law, somebody needs to legally be able to represent you. And also, for your assets to pass to someone else, it has to be legally transferred. So, planning towards getting things properly done with respect to what you have, no matter how small or big, is what estate planning is about. And you need to put that in place so that the judge or the court will not be the ones making decisions for you.
Mhm. You got to take care of that, people. All right. That was an estate planning. Now, the next immigration question we have is If my spouse is abusive to me, do I have any options or do I remain until I get my green card? Well, you have options. One of them is self petitioning under VAWA, and that's the Violence Against Women's Act. So there is a process for that, and I'll let Jumoke talk a little bit more about VAWA.
All right. I think you've said some.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot. You have an option. You don't have to be stuck because you're married to a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident and you're experiencing abuse. And abuse is a wide range. Some people know about domestic abuse, physical abuse, but there could be psychological, emotional, a whole lot of things, mental abuse. You can't you shouldn't file this type of petition by yourself because you need a lot of documentation to prove that you're experiencing approved. But you shouldn't at the same time, you should know at the same time, I mean, that you shouldn't be stuck because you are experiencing an abuse and you're married to a US citizen. A lot of people come in as immigrants and they are fearful, and they can't talk, they can't call the police. But reach out to an attorney if you're experiencing this type of situation and you're already married to a citizen or you're married to a green card holder. We may be able to assist you self petition, VAWA. Okay.
Okay. So that basically addresses the issue of abused women feeling as if they are stuck in that abusive relationship and they're being held prisoner because of the papers that they don't have yet. So
And also, it could be men.
it could be men. That's
It's
right.
not only women, it
Hmm.
could be men.
That's
So
right.
you have that option too.
That's right. So yeah, definitely talk to a lawyer if you feel like you need to go that route. If you can't afford a lawyer, find an organization that helps people petition under VAWA. There are organizations out there. Okay. All right. Estate planning. I asked you this one that we received. I am not rich. Why do I need to have an estate plan?
All right. What's your term rich? How much is being rich? Okay, that's the question. But I'll tell you that estate plan is not for the rich. It's not for the wealthy. If you have a modest amount of assets, then you should think about having an estate plan. Okay. So as long as you're not poor, even if you're poor, but you have a furniture, you have a car, then you have something. Okay. So you need to plan, even if it's the minimum level of planning, you need to have something in place. So you don't have to be rich to have an estate plan in place. And also in Maryland, a regular estate starts at $50,000. So if you have assets worth $50,000, probably a car or a house, you know, you probably qualify to have something very detailed done for you.
Mm, okay. And what happens if they don't have one?
Right. So if you don't have one, you're inviting court or conflict. Okay. First of all, you're inviting conflict among your loved ones. You know the people, you know your family, but there's another side to family or children. There's always this black sheep that is always after what they did not work for. Um, there could be sibling rivalry. There could be disinheritance. There could be confusion. Okay. Because some people don't even know everything they have. Okay. That's what I find out. How much more an outsider that you did not tell what you have? You'll have to give a documentation. You have to tell the probate court everything, that a deceased person has that is in their personal names. So it's better to have things properly planned and properly, in place so that there are no confusions. so that you don't lose a lot of money to the government and to estate taxes and probate taxes and costs, so that there's peace in your family, so that the right people are getting the things that you want them to get, so that the right people that you want to administer things on your behalf are the ones doing the job and not the people that you don't want. If you don't make a decision, I'll say again, a judge will make a decision for you, and it may not be the one you want. All right.
You heard it. You want to determine what happens to your assets and your property. So,
And even your life.
and your life. That's
And,
right. That's right.
because it's not only about after
Mhm.
death. Estate planning is not only about after death.
Mhm.
It also includes planning for life.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's right.
And we'll talk about that some more.
Okay. Okay. Good one. Immigration. I have 2 years spousal conditional green card after I was married, and I have 2 years. And what does that mean? And how do I get my permanent green card? What's the process? Would you say?
All right. So if you have a conditional residency,
Mhm.
that's people call it 2 years green card. That means you're probably married to a US citizen and you got married and filed within 2 years of marriage. You got approved for the conditional residence within 2 years of getting married. That's when you get a 2 years green card. Okay. So that means you have to lift the condition 2 years after that green card date. Basically, you can start lifting the conditions 90 days to the expiration of your green card. Um, for those who are still married, it's the requirement that you file to remove the conditions within 90 days of expiration. But we know that things are not always straight line, and some marriages get into troubles, and some have probably gone through divorces. The exceptions to the rule, and we have waiver applications. Why can't you file a joint petition? Okay, then you'll have to file a waiver to such situations if there's been death or there's abuse or there's divorce or there's extreme hardship. If you have such a situation, I advise that you speak with an immigration law attorney to help you out. And also, if you have filing a joint petition, it's always better done right with an attorney than self doing things yourself. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's what it means. And the second question is, how do I get my permanent green card? So once you put in the application to remove condition, it takes a processing time. Unfortunately, it's slow now, but at some point that application will be processed and adjudicated, and then your 10 years green card will be given to you.
All right. Estate plan, Maryland. Why do I need a will when I already told my family what to do?
All righty. It's always better to document things, to put things in writing. Someone said that the slightest pencil, the faintest pencil, is better than the sharpest memory, something like that. If you have things legally documented, not a holographic will that you wrote with your hand, you know, a will or a plan, it could be a trust prepared by a lawyer. You have written down what you want, who you want to give what, who you want to do what for you. Who is your like executor, or do you want to be a personal representative, or do you want to be a trustees? You'll have written down all those. This is better than telling someone, oh, I've already told my child this is what I want, because the judge is not going to rule by what you told your child or you told your spouse. If you die without a will, then you consider dying intestate. Okay. So To avoid conflict, number one, because someone may decide to change their mind. Maybe you gave someone half of your house, they may decide to say, hey, my dad said he gave me the whole house. Then there's going to be conflict. Do you understand? So, because you can't trust people totally sometimes, it's always better to legally document these things and not just rely on the fact that you've told someone what you want. People change, and even the law changes. All right.
Get it in writing. The bottom line. Okay, immigration. How should we prepare for the spousal green card interview? What are the big things we should prepare for when we go to the interview? What do you think? You want to start?
All right. So, if you're married to a lawful permanent resident or a green card
US
or a
citizen.
U.S. citizen, it's like almost automatic that you'll be invited for a spousal interview. Okay. And the interview is both for the I-130 petition and the adjustment of status. And the essence of the I-130 interview is to determine the bona fides of your marriage. The adjustment of status interview is to determine whether you're eligible to adjust status, and both happen at the same time. So, because this is a big day, okay, it's better you prepare for it the right way. Don't assume that you know what to do, because nowadays USCIS dig back into the first time you applied for a visa outside the United States. So, if it's possible for you to work with an attorney to prepare you for the interview and also to go with you to the interview, it's better. It's an investment worth it. Because if things do not go right, then you have an attorney with you. But basically, it's very important that you prepare and have evidence and documents that will prove the bona fides of your marriage. And you can talk to an attorney about that. And also, by the time you read the USCIS notices, the notice of interview, it's going to give you some ideas of some of the bona fide documents that they wish you to bring to the interview.
Mhm. And in the interview, make sure you get there on time. That's the biggest thing. Get there on time. You don't want to miss your interview. It's going to cause a lot of problems for you and your lawyer. So please don't miss it.
Yeah, you may not get another date that quickly.
And other permits, other applications you filed might be delayed, work
Exactly.
permits, all that stuff. So you want to make sure you get there on time. Okay, back to estate plan, Maryland. Can I include my family in Africa in my will? And how do they get it?
Yeah, you know what? We're in the United States, and we've connected. A lot of people are connected all over the world, including Africa. And of course, we're here. We've lived here. We've worked here. We've acquired assets here, and we have loved ones outside of the United States. And we're thinking of our mommy, our daddy, our brothers, or sisters who are in Africa that we want to give something to. It's possible for you to include their names, okay? But the issue will be how will they receive the gift? Okay. So for example, if you want to give someone a house, then they have to come here to get title to their house, or whatever it is, they have to probably find their way here to get it. Except it's something intangible that can be sent to them. So, yes, it's possible for you to give gifts to your loved ones outside of the United States. And also, another thing that will probably happen is that they'll be paying taxes. So you have to speak with an attorney so that you know whether it's a gift was given because by the time they pay taxes for having taken assets out or having international assets, then just speak with an attorney, estate planning attorney, when doing such a plan.
Be aware of taxes. Always taxes. Okay. Immigration. What do I do if I receive a notice of intent to deny from the USCIS? Intent to deny. You want to get on it? It doesn't sound good. So, what should you do first? What should they do first, Attorney Jumoke?
Once you get that letter, be fast to contact an immigration law attorney, not another attorney. Okay. This is like your second to the last chance or last chance. They're giving you one more chance before making a decision on either approving your case or denying your case. So you don't want to toy with that. You don't want to play with that opportunity. And you don't want to try to do it yourself. Okay. Because this is not a request for evidence. This is a notice of intent to deny. And you don't want to assume that you know the answer because you are probably a layman. Okay. Attorneys know the question behind the question. So you want to get to an attorney, an immigration lawyer to help you as soon as possible. And also, most of these notices of intent to deny, we call it NOID, they have very short time limits within which you have to respond to them, usually 30 days. You have to respond within 30 days. There are flexibilities. There were flexibilities during the COVID period, which some people make use of, but it's better you respond within the time frame provided so that you have a fair chance of being adjudicated immediately thereafter.
Good. All right. So, yes, you want to jump on it and move fast, get a lawyer. If you don't do it, if you plan on remaining in the United States and you want to give that last try, you don't want to go solo and you don't want to do how do you say it?
DIY, do it yourself.
Do it yourself, or hire yourself a Google lawyer. You want to get a real lawyer who knows immigration, who knows how to proceed with this process, because it is your last chance to remain in the United States. So that's
with USCIS, to get an approval or a denial.
That's right.
And if you don't respond, a decision will be taken, and the decision is likely to be a denial as well.
Exactly. So you've done a lot of work and spent a lot of money to be here. You want to do whatever you can and find a way to take care of your lawyer so they can do the best they can for you. Okay? All right. Trust, back to Maryland estate planning. How can I keep creditors from taking all my children's inheritance? Help.
All right. We're in the United States of America, and we know that creditors thrive. They thrive here in the United States. And you're giving assets and inheritances to your children. Part of estate planning, comprehensive planning, is to make plans in such a way to keep creditors out of the inheritance you give to your children. This can be this can be achieved when you have a living trust in place. Okay, it may not be achieved with a will. Okay, but it can be achieved with a living trust as one of the vehicles of planning. And an estate planning lawyer that is experienced will know how to help you with this. Right. So if you want to keep creditors, ex-spouses, and lawsuits out of your inheritances that you give to your children, contact us. We'll help you.
Okay, you heard that. We will add the contact information to the description of this video when it's over, so you will have all of it. No excuse. All right. I want to travel to the United States. How do I get a visa?
I'm assuming you're out of the country, out of the United States, and
Mhm.
each country has consulates, okay, like they call them embassies in different countries. And things are now online. A lot of applications can be found online. So if it's there are different types of visas as well. So you need to know, what are you coming to do? Are you coming here as a visitor? Are you coming here as a student? Are you coming here on an exchange program? Are you coming here to do business? And there are different visas for different purposes. So when you know what you're coming here to do, you apply for the right kind of visa. Um, there are some applications online. Then you go for a visa interview in your country of residence, where the consulate is. Most of the time, you'll pay a fee. You apply online. They'll give you an interview date, and you go there for the interview. Um, that's how you apply for a visa. And when you're there, if it's a non-immigrant visa, you have to most of the time prove that you have ties to your country of residence, and that you're coming back. Just going to the United States to stay back and disappear. Because that's a basis for granting non-immigrant visas, and also people that have stake in their countries have a higher chance of being granted visas. If you go in there for immigrant visas, that means you probably have a family member or an employer that petitioned for you for an immigrant visa, and then you follow the process. You do the application. You'll be invited for an interview. After some time, you can use the services of an attorney to help you through this process. And you go for your interview and have a high chance of coming here on an immigrant visa.
Good. Okay. So that's the process. You got to work with the consulate where you are. That's how you get it. Okay. All right. Can you? Did you already explain it? But let's get more detailed about living trust. What exactly is a living trust, and what does it do for somebody that has it?
Okay, so one of the vehicles, that's the term I use, but um, a lot of people know about a will, having a will when it comes to estate planning, but they don't know about living trust. The living trust is a higher level of planning that keeps you out of probate court. Okay, so it's an alternative to having a will. When you have a will or you don't have any plan in place, at the end of the day, you end up in the probate court, and the probate court helps to, with the administration of your estate, open the estate and go through the process until it closes. When you have a trust, it's more private. It's private, number one. It's an alternative to a will. It's an agreement. It doesn't involve the court. And your wishes will be honored as if it's the same as a will. And it's better also in the terms of there's no processing delay. Like in Maryland, it could take you 12, 18, or 2 years to go through the probate court when you want to administer an estate. But if you have a living trust, it could be very fast. It will be very fast. It depends on how fast your trustee is in trying to administer you. So something that will take 1.5 years with a will could take 3 months or less when you have a living trust. Also, it's private, so everything can be done in your attorney's office without the court's involvement. And at the end of the day, when you have a living trust, honestly, you will save a lot in terms of your assets going out to the government or to taxes. So there's so much advantage in having a living trust in place. We are experts when it comes to preparing revocable living trust. Please contact us and we'll want to help your family to, with the process. Also, a lot of people confuse living trust with living will. Okay. Um, they'll say, I want to live in will. Okay. A living trust is not the same as living will. A living will is more of healthcare directive and final disposition documents. And a living trust is some other separate advanced legal planning documents. Okay. We're here to give you clarity. If you want to know more about estate plan, know more about having a living trust and all that, we have webinars out there that you can listen to, and you can also call our office and schedule what we call a family wealth planning session, and we'll hold a specific strategy session to your family and your family's needs.
All right. Okay. Got a final one for immigration, and I'll take a swing at this. Can I apply for asylum? Asylum is a humanitarian relief. Every year, people come to the United States seeking protection because they have suffered persecution or fear that they will suffer persecution due to race. And pay attention to this. These categories are quite specific. You can't make up your own categories. You got to pay attention. It has to be based on race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or your political opinion. Based on these, you have either been persecuted or you fear that you will be. And so, what when you get to the United States, you have how long to apply?
Within 1 year of coming to the United States, you should apply for asylum if you fall in any of those categories. There are exceptions to the rule, but it's better to do the right thing.
Hmm. And please keep in mind that it's about you and your persecution, not that the country you are fleeing is just bad and terrible. You have to have credible information that you can share with the officers before you might have a chance. Very little, small percentage of people get asylum applications approved in the United States. So you have to have credible information to support your claim. Your claim, okay? All right, keep that in mind. So we have one last one last one for Jumoke on estate plan in Maryland. Do I have to give a copy of my will to my spouse, or can I keep it private?
All right. So when you have a will and it's prepared, it may not be your spouse, but you want at least someone that you trust to know that you have a will and to know where to assess it. So if the person, a trusted person, can be your spouse or your child or someone else. It could be anyone, someone you know, someone you trust, someone you know that will has your interest at heart and will not go back to make changes or do some fraudulent things with what you have in place. Also, there's the possibility of keeping your will with the county, so for safekeeping, if you want to do that, you can keep it with, for the county to safekeep it for you at the often probate court or register of wills for a fee. All right. Also, you can keep it in any safe place, in your home or wherever you keep documents, legal documents, serious legal documents. But it's very important that your loved one know that you've done an estate plan and know where to assess it in the event that something happens to you. It could be incapacity, it could be death. And also for some incapacity documents, it's always good to give a copy to the agent. So, for example, if you did a power of attorney You have an agent, make sure that agent, also called a power of attorney, has a copy, because you don't know when something will happen to you. It's going to be useless if they don't have that document when it's needed.
Well. That brings our first Q&A session by Ivy Law Office attorneys to a close. We want to thank you. Do you have any final words you want to say before we close?
Um, Thank you so much for joining and watching. And if you were not able to join, thank you for joining again to watch. Please like, share. We'll be here on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. to answer your questions. Let your friends know, let your family know. Bring in your questions. We'd love to help. We thrive on helping people. And also, you can reach us. Our phone number is 301-276-0887. You can email, you can go to our website, www.ivylaw.office.com, Ivylaw office.com. Like and share, and we hope to see you.
All right. Yes, and thank you. Thanks, Jumoke. Yes, I will add the contact information to the bottom to the description, and feel free to reach out to us if you have specific questions. You can schedule a time to talk to us for 10 minutes free on the phone, or come into the office to share your documents and get advice from Jumoke or myself about immigration. If you have specific estate planning questions for Maryland, address it specifically to Jumoke, because she's the one that handles that. And the questions next time, if you want to participate, it's set that you have to be subscribed to our channel at least 5 minutes before it allow you to join the chat. So please, that's the process. Make sure you do that. We don't want a whole bunch of people with crazy questions. We want people now that are following us to be able to shoot questions at us so we can answer you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you next week. Don't be late. Bye.
Bye.